Howdy partners, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Let's talk about some new all-time highs. Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a gloriously early Friday morning over here from, once again, a snowy and icy, actually, Helsinki, Finland. It's actually so icy outside right now that unless if I wear these special shoes, I will slip and slide everywhere, and I've actually done plenty of face plants. So if you hate me, then take solace in the fact that I've been hurting myself recently quite a fair bit. So with that in mind, I would like to wish you the best, and the happiest as we hit in this nice little Friday day, and plenty to talk about today, as Bitcoin did hit our $40,000 target. Now what, sir? Now what indeed is the real question, as the real question is, do we look for the continuation of the upside, looking for new all-time highs, just make this market even more crazy than what it already is, or is it time to be looking for a little bit more of a perhaps even much needed pullback at some point? Well, we'll be talking about that, and spoiled surprise, maybe a little bit more insanity to come. So with that said, into the Crownchain application we go, which can be found at app.crownchain.net, and it is 100% free, going under a major new rendition at the end of the month, of which I'm really excited about, because we're going to be able to offer you some data that is pretty highly valuable and very much sought after, and that the average person, I don't believe, can get. So with that said, take advantage of it. It's free right now. Anyways, looking at the Bitcoin dominance, we do see that it is popping up from yesterday to today from about 69.5% to just above 70%, of which that would suggest that altcoins not doing the best, as Bitcoin does break out to new all-time highs once again. And we do see that once Bitcoin's kind of in the trending motion, that we are seeing those rotational marks that we have seen before. So I do want to check out on the Bitcoin dominance chart once again, as I want to see exactly where we're at on that one, as we do head in the weekly closure. Still a few days left on this weekly, of course. On top of that, we do see that open interest almost around 6 billion, and I do believe that we did see 6 billion yesterday when Bitcoin did break just above $40,000 to that targeted region, and now backing off about 100 million or 200 million, as you can see. But more importantly, I want to see another range established alongside price action. With things moving so fast, there's really not much time for pause on that. But what we can say is that with open interest going up, as we saw yesterday, then also price action going up as well, and volume supporting that move, as we saw on the 3-day yesterday, that would say that the rally is efficacious and still more or less supported by actual positions. So very nice right there. Looking at the fear and greed index, also popping up 2 points, so we're getting even more greedy as Bitcoin completes a rally from a 91 to a 93. But at that point, it's I've been getting a lot of questions on that. How is the fear and greed index calculated? You can actually find out for yourself if you just go to the source of that. Just type in fear and greed on Google for Bitcoin, and it'll actually tell you. It'll run through it, but just give you a quick rundown. It uses a lot of different things, actually. Obviously, price action is going to be one of them, but most importantly, it's going to be a lot of sentiment, of course, too, which is going to be based off of actually, in some cases, Twitter posts. So maybe people aren't getting bullish enough, is what that comes down to. But as always, that is a very incomplete metric in and of itself. It needs to be combined with something more tangible on price action in order to really be aware of like a major reversal. So yes, it is a warning signal, and it has been, firing off warning signals for the past 2 months, but have those been actionable? Absolutely not. I mean, if you blindly traded that, you would be not very happy person and also quite wrecked financially. Anyways, looking at the global funding rate, what do we see? Coming down a little bit from that 0.24% region that we saw yesterday. And let's do the check-in down here. And actually, this is very concerning. We do see several exchanges well above that 0.1% threshold. We see OKX 0.14. We see Bybit 0.13. We see Huobi 0.2 actually, and Binance 0.14%. Is anyone else above that threshold? It looks like the answer is no. Actually, funnily enough, FTX, which is typically the outlier, is actually all the way down at 0.06. So go figure. But most importantly with that is a bit of a warning signal. So what I now want to see, if Bitcoin is going to put in potentially even a major high within this region, is I want to see these reads more or less stay consistent over the next 48 hours or so. If that happens, yes, I would be looking for a great pullback from this region, and probably does turn into the next opportunity, but would imply some pretty nasty pullbacks at the same time. So with that in mind, am I missing anything else? No, I think we're fine for now. I feel like there was an announcement that I wanted to make, but I'll be on Twitch later today, but that's nothing really new. We'll get to it later. Anyways, with that said, let's go to the actual price action charts. We'll start it off with our with our long-term trending chart right here on what's it called on the trolling bands. And most importantly, with this, we do see that once again Bitcoin is closed above the topside trolling band on yesterday's daily total closure. Now that was the highest term time frame closing the soonest. We do have a 2-day closing tonight, I believe. Let me just double check. Yes, indeed we do. 3-day should not be. That will be tomorrow night. Yes, indeed it will be tomorrow night. And then of course we have weekly CME close. So those are the two biggest things. Obviously the 2-day and then the weekly 4 CMEs, and then of course the daily, you know, a little bit on top of that as well. But here's what I would say. I would be looking for new all-time highs on Bitcoin if this condition is met once again, which as you can see, it's been being met for quite some time, and that would be closing above the topside trolling band on the daily and the 2-day. I actually want to see it simultaneously, and it actually will probably happen simultaneously, as the topside trolling band on the 2-day is 36,850 current price action, and the daily is 39,350. I'd feel a lot more comfortable with actually the daily, because that one is such an aggressive read right here, and seeing as we already have come back down and backfilled the last prior open, I would be looking for a little bit of I would be looking for a bounce off that region, but that's literally what we're seeing right now. So that move is, you know, mostly played out. If you're looking for the easy portion of that being a $1,500 move, which is quite the move. Now I want to see where the closing price action is. If it closes above the topside trolling band, yes, I will be looking for the next targeted regions to the upside coming into next week, very likely. If not, then I would be a lot more understanding of a reversal, more approximately time wise speaking. Anyways, with that said, obviously CME is going to be closing the weekly today, and I do think that that CME chart is still, you know, the most important here. So CME closing the weekly, if it closes anywhere above, let's call it 31,100, it will be above the topside trolling band once again. I'd say though, as long as it's above, especially as long as it's anywhere above like 37,000 or 38,000 where we're at right now, I would look at that as likely continuation coming into next week, meaning new all-time highs very likely next week as well, as this trend does continue. But again, this is an incredibly aggressive move right now. I do want to remain grounded. I do want to remain a little bit more taken aback. And, you know, I see all of the excitement around the webs. You know, everyone's like trying to one-up each other as far as YouTube title goes with like how bullish can you get. It's like no longer is $100,000 target for Bitcoin bullish enough. It's now like, you know, then it went up to like 250,000, then 500,000. Now it's like 1 million, and people are like rushing to come up with the most insane predictions, right? Anyways, you know, fair enough to those people out there. But most importantly, for a channel like this, which is focused on traders, is that really relevant to the short term? No, fuck no, it's not. And most importantly, it's I think that that's in a lot of ways a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? Not immature, but potentially dangerous. I mean, it's a little bit silly to be looking for $1 million move when price action's like $38,000, you know. Anyways, so with that said, that's my criteria for further continuation within the next week to new all-time highs. Now, where would our next targeted regions be? Well, first and foremost, we obviously did hit, Jesus Christ, this one is, okay, that was actually for the new video in the TA program, which you should go check on because it is uploaded now. In fact, there's actually a couple more. And also for the STC as well, if you have caretakers. Anyways, on this right here, yes, we did hit the 4.236 Fibonacci extension at $40,000, just above it actually, and that played off pretty damn well. Now, what do we do? What do we do now, Crown? If if that one's already played out, well, that was a Fibonacci extension taken from 11,500 all the way down to 3,100 for this accumulation phase right here. What we can do is we can use it for the whole formation now, going all the way to $19,000 closure and $31,000 low. And I've already gone ahead and done that, and I believe we referenced this yesterday, and that would give us a few targets above if Bitcoin does start to really bust through this $40,000 level. Now, we actually do see that the 2.272 actually technically did get the exact high yesterday on a wick basis. So yes, this is having good, it's already having good interplay already. I'll just mark that off right there so that we can get exactly right there. But funny how that works. And more importantly, you know, those algo targets, they do hold, and now you can see it very much in front of your face. So areas of interest above this region are going to be 43 or just under 43,000 at the 2.414, but that's not a big one. Very rarely do you see reversals at this level. It's a 2618. That is your typical potential reversal area, and at the very least a short-term and medium-term reversal area, and that's all the way at just over $46,000, which sounds fucking crazy. And then if we go a little bit higher than that, which I don't think is going to be too relevant for like today or tomorrow, but you know, perhaps like a month or two down the road, or maybe that's a little bit too far out, maybe a few weeks down the road, depending upon how we judge continuation right here, we could be looking at 52,500 57,000, and then we get up to 60,000, of which, personally speaking, I do think that 60,000 is going to be a major one, and if I did have put my money on it, I would look for that area as probably the long-term reversal area, at least for a good stop and reverse point, of which Bitcoin probably takes a month or two to kind of shake itself out after such. But again, that's just me kind of spitballing here. More importantly than any, based off of prior history, to be fair, but more important than anything is going to be price action here. So with that said, again, if those conditions are met, I am looking for further continuation to the upside. My next target would be 43,000 about for a short-term, short-term pullback from that region, and very likely if it does hit 43,000, it will not stop there. Except for short-term, it'll very likely head back up to about 46, or sorry, not back up, but head up to about 46,000, and fulfill the 2-spot 618, and that is a big algo target. So I would be very much cognizant of that one. Although, if price action gets around there, is it really like to reverse around there macro term? Probably not. Anyways, let's go into the actual short-term timeframes right here on our 4-hour and our regular charts, which are quickly becoming our secondary charts. Our secondary charts are quickly becoming our regular charts, because my secondary charts are for trending moves and trending markets. This one over here is more for ranging markets, but still working nonetheless. Our areas right here getting hit yesterday, as long as our criteria is met of just essentially holding up above these levels, which Bitcoin did, albeit it did test it a couple times, but that's completely fine. And now what? Well, again, I would put the focus once again on the daily and 2-day closure tonight on spot price action, and obviously the weekly as well for CMEs for continuation. But if we are going to be using the lower term timeframes, very simply put, a 4-hour dildo closure above $40,000, and then yes, I would start to once again march it up around this region. And if you're looking at the short term timeframes, I would be looking at this fib extension right here to beget that. You're going to see that $43,000 level right around this region as well. So I do like that region, and yes, that would again only be relevant if Bitcoin does close above, not this level right here, actually, sorry, not above $40,000. This is going to be the 2-spot 414, which is 40,400, and let's just call it 40,500-ish region, basically above yesterday's high. I want to see a closing high above there on, at the very least, a 4-hour dildo time frame, and then yes, targeting another $3,000 move to the upside, I guess. Enjoy your fucking day, fellers. Anyways, as it stands right now, how are we looking on a lower term time frame momentum oscillators? I want to see what is most likely here. Is it likely that Bitcoin is going to retrace a bit or not? And first and foremost, I actually do see that Bitcoin actually has some bearish divergence on 4-hour RSI between this point and this point right here, which yes has confirmed a local high as it is right now, and that would have my targeted region would have been $36,000 right around the 21, and we've already got a move similar to that. Doesn't mean that we can't get another wick down, but let's just see what all of the lower term timeframes say right now. So 4-hour stocks are coming down right now. They will remain to the downside as long as Bitcoin is closing 4-hour dildos below $40,200. On top of that, we do see that historical volatility percentile is going into a bit of contraction phase here, as we identified a couple days ago. So I would be looking for that to likely just kind of continue this trend to the upside as it has been. But that will come with, seeing as we just had in a high, probably a higher low. Now, where would the higher low analysis likely come in around? I think the 21 exponential average right here is an obvious area. That is going to be right around our current lows, about $36,000 or 36,350 to be exact. On top of that, we do have the next level a little bit further south at 34,500. Both of those areas I would put a little bit of weight on, but that is where things do start to get a little more interesting, because below 34,500, we do start to look at a medium-term reversal here, and I would be looking for about a $5,000 move to the downside all the way down to $30,000 base with the bounce implied there. Now, of course, we're getting way ahead of ourselves right now, because I want to both talk about the upside and the downside to remain as fair and balanced as possible, and with that said, what we spoke about first in this video obviously supersedes everything that we're going to be going over in the lower term timeframes. So with that in mind, I do want to keep on trudging through. Let's check out what the 3-hour is saying right now. We do see that 3-hour Stokes are coming down quite aggressively as well towards and will come down as long as we are below $40,300 in the next closure, coming in 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 47 seconds. However, again, when you look at something like this, I don't look at this as a bearish thing when it's in the critical zone. This is like a really strong read, in fact. And even then, we do have both on the 3-hour and 4-hour, this trend line, I guess this one's, this one I made on the 4-hour, but you could certainly apply to the 3-hour as well, is going to be coming in. So if things do come back down below the critical zone, I'd be looking looking for them to likely test somewhere around this trend line, which, by the way, it just so happens this comes around right at the edge of the bullish control zone, which is a natural basing off area anyways. There's going to be a lot of algo, algo buying right there too, as they take a little bit of profit. So with that in mind, both the 4-hour and 3-hour kind of aligning with each other. I don't really see anything on the Jewel. The Jewel is firing off warning signals, but not any sort of signals. In fact, it's still in a bullish posturing for what it's worth. And going on to the 2-hour, what do we see right here? Momentum oscillators will remain to the downside as long as we're below essentially $40,000. So it is looking like a bit of a short-term pullback as it stands right now. And historical volatility percentile very likely contracts into this next move. So what does that mean? It means I'd be looking for that to come down and base off as Bitcoin does try to put in a higher low. If I had to call it right now, I'd be looking for higher lows somewhere around a little bit above $35,000. If $35,000 starts to break, starts to have a little more structural problems in the short term, that is. Anyways, moving on to the hourly, what do we see right here? Hourly Stokes way the hell down, but Jesus Christ, man, my voice is getting absolutely wrecked right now. But we do see a trend line coming in from these last couple lows right here, and more importantly, that will remain to the downside as long as we're closing below 39,544. Let's see how many more minutes do we have till closure? 36 minutes and 6 seconds. So this one still has quite some time, and more importantly, right here, actually, it would imply that very short term on the hourly, we probably do have some hidden bullish divergence. Actually, do we? Hold on. Let's measure this one out. Okay, closing low of what? Just below 37. What is this closing low right here? Just above 37. So technically speaking, that was your hidden bullish divergence. And actually, probably short term, probably does pop back up towards 39,500. But I don't know if this video is going to get out in time for that to even be relevant. Yeah, we can see that if you're looking at Caretaker's RSI, this is what happens when a divergence is potential, is it comes in as a dotted line. I've been getting a lot of questions about this too. Understand that it's only going to show that potential divergence when you have potential divergence. It's obviously not going to show if it's not present. So if you're looking for that, understand that it's only going to be on the present closure. And if you don't see it in real time, then you're not going to see it. So that is just a warning signal. Again, it's not confirmed. If it's dotted, it's just potential, and then it'll be confirmed on closure if things close here or higher for this time frame, and that will drive targets a little bit higher. In this case, like I said, 39,500 for the short term if I were to play this one. So with that said, what else do we have to look at here? Not much. Do we have anything on the Jewel? No, not really. Or actually, we did get a bit. Nah, not really. Not even much of a sell signal right there either. So fair enough. All the lower term timeframes kind of like ebb and to and flow with each other, but all momentum oscillators on the lower term timeframes are downside angled for the short term, that is, but those are on Stokes. When we look at RSI, I think it becomes a lot more apparent that this still is a more or less healthy move, but short term probably does come down a little bit, especially granted the bearish divergence that we do see in on the 4-hour right here, which I do think probably goes for another drive, to be fair. Anyways, as it stands, let's go check out the medium-term time frame, see what they're printing right now. And what do you know? 12-hour is still trudging its way along. I am a little bit cognizant of the 12-hour Jewel potential sell signal here. I want to see all of these curl down and really line up, but seeing as it is a Friday, if this signal does get signaled, I guess, I would not look for it to play over the weekend. I would look for it to play coming into Monday next week. So keep that in mind. I do really do not like these signals over the weekend. They typically do not work out over the weekend unless if it's on like a very low time frame, funnily enough, which it would, you would think is backwards, but that it's just what I've noticed. Anyways, looking at 12-hour RSI, what do we see right here? Obviously, that hidden bullish divergence, certainly played out from this region right here. There you go. And I'm curious actually what the 12-hour looks like on Trollender bands right here. Did we close above the top side yesterday too? Oh wow, so the 12-hour is trending here. Okay, very nice. So here's what I would say: the 12-hour is going to close today, obviously in 7 hours, 33 minutes, and 18 seconds. So if you do see it close above the top side Trollender band here, which is 39,600, then I would be looking for further continuation to the upside sooner rather than later. In fact, it looks like that to me, especially with these rising wicks. And if I did a call right now, call me crazy, but maybe Bitcoin has a short-term down here. I mean, we've kind of already had a short-term down, to be fair, from 40,000 to 36,000, almost a $5,000 move, and no one even fucking bats an eye anymore. But this is still trending, to be fair, and on increasing volume here too. I mean, this is really good. This is really good. Yeah. So I'm trying to catch my words right now. Didn't really have any coffee this morning, so I am maybe a little bit lackluster in the tongue department, but that's my girlfriend's problem, I suppose. Anyways, more importantly with this, we do again we see increasing volume on this rally still, and that was that last 12-hour closure, so that was a daily closure. Yeah, call me crazy. I'd be overall bullish here, I suppose, still, but fucking hell, man. Be careful when this thing does turn around, because it's going to be absolutely fucking brutal. But now your medium-term area, or at least my medium-term area, and this is not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, is 34,500. So, you know, could Bitcoin come all the way down to 35,000 bucks and not really do anything? Yeah, very easily could. It wouldn't mean anything towards even the medium term structure. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, these numbers are getting so big. This is just ridiculous. And this is not even. What if it gets to 100,000? Things are going to be even more crazy. that is wild. That's really something to reflect upon. Whatever momentum also is sitting back here too. Wow, DMI plus still very much dominant. ADX is still absolutely vertical there. Now we do have a little bit of an issue with the DMI plus. It will be creating some bearish divergence here, but that. Well, I shouldn't necessarily say that, because first off, we need to confirm a high, and we do not have a high confirmed as it is. You know, maybe you get a tweezer top here. I suppose that is possible, but that would imply a closure on the 12-hour below about 38,000 bucks. Yeah, very much possible, to be fair. And then yes, we would have divergence there, and then yes, I would be looking for that move down to about 34,500 or 35,000 bucks. Call you know, whichever one you want to call it, with likely a bounce there and continuation implied towards low $30,000 region. So same interpretations of those, you know, of those downside pivots, but the more and more that Bitcoin goes here, and the more impressive that it gets, and the more and more, the more and more that it actually builds up, so that when it does come down inevitably, well, I suppose the targets would just be a little bit higher, instead of looking for 18,000, which is what I would have said just what is this, like 3 weeks ago. Now I'd be looking for 23 to 24,000 on like a catastrophic dump off, and that would be a no-brainer buy. But the more that it kind of builds up above 40,000 bucks, that's going to naturally turn into $30,000 base. So fair enough. Trending market's quite the fucking thing, huh? Looking at the daily right here, it is a little bit concerning that the MACD histogram is starting to lose a little bit of its momentum there. However, this day is still far from over, and I would wait until this is fully confirmed. This is fully confirmed actually, because that was the 7th. So we're working on the next one today. I'd keep an eye on what it closes like today, because this is not really loosening it too much right there. What I'd want to see is consistent, and when I say consistent, I mean, 3 is what makes a trend. 2 to 3 is 2 is obviously concerning. So if we get the second one today, that's going to be your probably first big warning signal. If we get 3, that's that's out for me, at least on the daily. And we have seen a pretty good in play with that in the past, but even then, in strong trending markets, typically those moves, they do produce a lot of sideways, maybe for a couple weeks, but as you can see right here and here and here, just gets reaccumulated. So there you go. Anyways, according to the higher term time frame, we're still bullish here. So short term time frames are the only ones that are potentially concerning to me. Higher term time frame still looking damn good. Buy daily right here. Yeah, we've already pretty much beaten that horse to death. So let's go over here to the daily on regular spot price action. And what do you know? Bitcoin momentum also is on the daily going to remain north side angled as long as we're above 38,600, which is where Bitcoin actually is currently residing just above. And more importantly, on daily RSI, once again, there will be no bearish divergence possible, even possible, if Bitcoin were to put in a local high right here. It literally wouldn't even be possible on the daily. And I would not look for any long-term reversal at all whatsoever until Bitcoin at the very least gets, fucking 2 drives of bearish divergence on daily, but preferably 3. I can't even remember a revert, or I don't think that there is a reversal in Bitcoin land on the daily that does not come with 3 drives of bearish divergence. That's for macro play on all of the major highs. That is, to be 100% clear. So fair enough. Anyways, what else do we see? Not much here. It's just if you're a moving average trader, it's a great time to be a moving average trader. Just stay long, I guess. We got the 10 symbol chasing fucking heavily right there, huh? Looking at the 2-day, what do we see? More or less the same shit. 2-day momentum oscillators, which once again will be closing tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, will be remaining to the upside as long as we're above 37,750. And then what do we see on 2-day RSI? Again, no potential bearish divergence here, because we quite literally don't even have a high to begin with. And second off, it would imply new highs on top of that. So just based off the daily and the 2-day, it's very unlikely that Bitcoin puts even a daily high in here. Or sorry, Bitcoin could put in a daily high here, but it would also imply new highs on top of that because we don't even see divergence on a time frame like this. And like I said, I've never seen even a medium term, well, no, I have seen medium term reversals on Bitcoin with 12-hour divergence, but not daily. No long term or macro certainly, without at the very least daily divergence on daily RSI. Just one of those weird cheat codes that seems to hold its weight. Moving on to the 3-day, do we see anything out of the ordinary here? Again, keep in mind that it's not closing today. No, but I still do want to pull your attention back onto the 3-day HVP, of which we are seeing expand from a zero read after a very long contraction phase from March all the way to October, November. So what? That's 3 to 10. That's a little bit more than half a year right there. That is really something to reflect upon because we are expanding from such a low nature. And the only other times that we really can compare that with is perhaps this area over here on the run to 14,000 in 2019, and that was this whole move contracting into, what was this, June to February. So June, yeah, so actually a very similar move right there too. And when the expansion did come, that was your coronavirus dump from 10,000 all the way to 4,000. Quite the move. The time before that was way the fuck back on over here for a 3 to 4 month long contraction phase on the lows at 3,100, and that produced a $4,000 move, or not 4,000, but a move from $4,000 to $14,000. Man, searching for my words without caffeine is difficult at AF. And then the time before that was this contraction phase right here for about 4 to 5 months at the end of 2018 before dumping off from 6,000 to 3,000. Now, of course, you can find some more examples in the past history of Bitcoin, but I don't want to spend all the time doing that and bore the shit out of you, and just want to, show that historically speaking, these produce some pretty generational moves. Well, I guess not generational, but very impressive moves even for Bitcoin. So with that said, can things get crazier? Yes, things can get crazier. I would keep your wits about, well, obviously I would keep your wits about you, and also like to keep my wits about myself as well, because when this thing does reverse, it will turn around incredibly quickly. But still, for now, I guess I have to be bullish still. Again, as long as the conditions are met, I will stick to my guns there. And fair enough. Let's go check out, what else do we want to check out? Let's go check out Caretaker over here, see what he's saying right now. Showing a range between about yesterday's high at 40,500 and a low of about 36,400, our low of today too. So I do like that for a short-term time frame range. If you are looking at this and playing the short-term time frames, the hourly, for what it's worth, has been really fucking good for the last 2 months. And in this case right here, we actually could even just chart out this chart, I guess, and it'd be pretty damn simple like this. A break below this region right here at 36,500, and yes, I would be looking for a drive down for another $2,000 to 34,500. And could you use an hourly on this? Probably could. I mean, these markets are so whippy right now that the lower term timeframes are getting them more or less better. And you do notice that in strong trending markets that naturally the lower term timeframes are going to hold a little more weight as things move faster and faster. And to the upside in this case right here, if Bitcoin does start to close above this level, that being about $40,000, then yes, I would target the next move towards, I guess it was $43,000. So fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, still an uptrend even on a fucking hourly, which is kind of crazy. All right, cool. Okay, let's go in and check out regular markets, see what they're looking like as NASDAQ marching on to new all-time highs, as we said was likely coming into this week. And guess what? We have new all-time highs. I think the key, though, yesterday, as we identified, was SPY futures, which I can actually see on my charts right now, are actually almost close to our major target there. But NASDAQ looking pretty damn good here as well. And I would be looking for the next melt-up phase, 2 new all-time highs, still looking at the targeted region of 13,150. That is going to be the 2-spot extension from this whole consolidation right here. Also, this consolidation does have a measure move all the way up to actually that same level. So good confluence right there. And I do remain with my overall bullishness here. This is a really fucking strong move. And not only do I think it's going to go to 13,150, it probably does reach higher, to be fair, over time. But that's all that I have for now. And on to SPY we go. And the reason why this is relevant, of course, is because with these guys moving up, well, what do you think Bitcoin's going to do, seeing as the two assets seem to be correlated quite strongly? Probably going to move up as well. And what do you know right here? We do have the, sorry, let's get this properly. Okay, we got that right there. Okay, I believe that's it. Let's go to the weekly now. Yeah, we're still looking for that 3830-ish region, of which that's going to be in line with the measure move off of this formation, and we're getting pretty damn close there. We got 3813 and 3/4 in the morning hours. However, yeah, I'd still be sticking with 3836.5 and probably short-term pullback right there. But just like Bitcoin, you know, I don't look for the 272 or the 414 to be reversals. It's the 618 that I typically look for on reversals, but these areas play for nice range trades, typically speaking. So could I extend that target over time to 3925? Probably. What do you know? It seems to be bullish once again. Jesus Christ, man. Crazy shit. I mean, shit, you could, we could do some even more crazy predictions here, but I think this one's crazy enough. I mean, it probably looked really fucking crazy way the hell out over here, but as you can see, over time, these things typically do get hit. So once again, that TA bullshit, that TA fucking hocus pocus, that nonsense, somehow somehow getting it right, I suppose. Anyways, okay, so we got that. Do you want to take a quick look at Tesla? Sure, Tesla, new all-time highs. What do you know? Fucking crazy. Probably gets a free ride to 1,000 again, to be honest with you. I think I charted this one briefly yesterday. Yeah, I'd be cognizant. Yeah, I think I had $900 as my next target, or just above $900, and then 1,000. So there you go. Nice one. It's looking very good here. Should we look at the other big ones? Maybe Microsoft. Microsoft going a little more sideways, but a very obvious consolidation, a nice ascending triangle at a high level, which is reaccumulation by definition, and implies an upside resolution, which, just doing some mental math, 200, 225, probably 250 target, which is going to be in line with our 618 here as well, I believe. Should we look at Apple? No, fuck Apple. All right, nice one. Let's see. What about the tech sector? I'm curious what the tech sector is doing. Looks like it hasn't caught wind of NASDAQ strengths just yet, but it obviously is not open for trading right now. I still look for the 137 and 3/4 target to be hit at the 2-spot extension right here, especially seeing as NASDAQ is taking that next leg up in the aftermarket hours. Very likely to follow as well. So a little bit of a DeLorean trade there, and I imagine that MicroStrategy is looking really good as well. And what do you fucking know? As we said, breaking on to new highs on this rally. And what's the next point of relevancy here? Actually, we're kind of at it. In fact, a little bit higher here, but anywhere right around $600 where I'd be looking towards, and that is probably going to be a nice little short-term dump-off area. But once again, you know, this is what I was talking about with MicroStrategy. It's kind of like having a time machine in a sense, where you see Bitcoin go first, and if Bitcoin goes first, MicroStrategy is very likely to follow. But it's very clear that it's MicroStrategy following Bitcoin, not leading the other way around, which is actually a good sign for Bitcoin right now. So fair enough. Anyways, let's go check out Bitcoin dominance. I'm curious what this is looking like as we get closer and closer to the weekly closure. Should I be turning around my views? Nope. I still remain bullish on Bitcoin dominance. I've been getting a lot of messages about this, a lot of hate about it too. It's very interesting to see that people are so listen. Like, I'm not trying to talk shit about anyone. I'm gonna be bullish on a bullish chart. I don't know how else to put it. I'm gonna be bullish on a fucking bullish chart. There's nothing bearish about this chart. There's nothing bearish certainly about the monthly. There's nothing at all bearish about the bi-monthly. There's certainly nothing bearish about the quarterly closing on new all-time highs, or not new all-time highs, but new highs on this run, which is indicative of continuation, especially after, you know, putting a higher low at the same time. I'll just leave that there. Again, I'm not trying to talk shit to anyone. I talk shit about shitty charts, and this is a very beautiful chart, which would imply shittiness on major, you know, Bitcoin parents. Does that mean that all of them are uniformly going to go down? No, there's going to be some, you know, some one-off winners here and there. Obviously, it'd be naive to say otherwise, but on the whole, I'd be looking for them to go down. And what do you know? Well, let's just go pick out a few of them. Cardano, is this one giving up its rally? I would imagine so. Yes, it is. What do you fucking know? Another lower high, just as we fucking said. Again, I stand by what I stand by this shit. No problem. Link BTC, same shit. Pukes up the rally every fucking time. All rallies fail. XRP didn't even really get a rally, so fair enough. Go fuck yourself. What about Ethereum BTC? Puking it up a little bit less, but still another lower high right here, and the death cross does remain as it stands. That's really healthy right there. So again, I'm not trying to piss anyone off, but a shitty chart is a shitty chart. Doesn't mean that they're going to be going down versus US dollar though. Listen, it's very likely to go up alongside Bitcoin, just not as much in the long term. You will get your rallies here and there, just as we've said. It's not going to be a fucking straight line down, but on the whole, it will be down. The trend is down. The trend is your friend. There's been no reversals of trends on any of these major ones, and I don't really see any real reason to, or any tangible reason to switch around my opinion on that, or my bias on that. So fair enough, and again, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to do whatever you want to do. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to change anyone's mind. I'm just here to share my opinion and give you the reasons for such. And if you decide that that's, relevant to you or not, then that's for you to decide. You are your own person. You're a free human being. You are more than, you're more than capable of thinking for yourself, of course. And I want to be, looking at a channel like this as like coming together as colleagues and bouncing ideas off each other. So again, with all respect, these are shitty charts, shitty walk, and and I remain bearish on the Bitcoin parents. Let's go check out the US dollar parents. However, what about Link? Did hit our $19 target. Nice. Okay, yeah, it did. Okay, sweet one. Actually above it. Nice. Okay, sweet one. Let's go back down to the daily. Putting in a little bit of a local high there. I'd be looking for it to trade sideways within a range here between about $13.50 and the current high on this rally. It very likely does fall through to the upside here. This is an ascending triangle at the highs, which is a bullish reaccumulation formation. We can mark it off something like such. Do something like this. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm going to get rid of this guy. I'm going to get rid of this. These are still relevant in case if you're wondering. It's just they're not relevant towards what I want to speak on directly like right now. And then what I want to do is I just want to draw a very simple trend line right here. There you go. There's your ascending triangle. We can come up with a measure move on top of this. I'm going to do like a bad job of it intentionally and just show that I'd be bullish towards a move towards 24 to 25 bucks long term. Now it probably is going to wedge itself into this region, a little bit more here. So does that come with another downside to like $13? Perhaps yes. I don't have a strong opinion on that. But ultimately long term alongside Bitcoin, I would expect it to break up similar to just about everything else. Except for like the extremely weak ones, but there's not really much. There's not a whole hell of a lot of weakness that I see, at least on my on my screen, with all of the alts that I follow. But then again, I really only follow like a handful. Looking at Mr. Buterol over here. Does look a little bit more toppy on this one. To be fair, we do have a doji dildo right there with continuation to the downside, but not conclusive in and of itself. Did we hit our 1350 target? Got pretty fucking close. Yeah, pretty much. Poloniex hit 1332. I was saying 1350 yesterday, so I'd say that is more or less target hit. I'd look for this one to trade down again and probably test back just below 1100 and then set up for further intuition to the upside long term. But it's just like Bitcoin around $20,000. Remember when Bitcoin hit 20,000 or was right under $20,000, it kind of ground this area out, and this was right here. Let me just take this off. It was right here, right? And then spent about a month just kind of putting a sideways consolidation, and then boom, off to the race to the upside. I'd be looking for something similar on Buterol, and we can talk about targets to probably $2,000 and beyond. You're going to see a Bitcoin-esque move there, very, very likely after a sideways consolidation here over the next month, is what I'd say. Maybe a little bit less than that, maybe a little bit more. I don't have a strong opinion on that, but my strong opinion is on further continuation to the upside. It's very good, it's very strong, and well, to be fair, this is different posturing on our momentum oscillators for the weekly, which is what I look for on trends like this. So if there is one big counterpoint, that would be it. Yeah, that certainly would be it. But I still favor the general market momentum rather than just looking at one in and of itself. So fair enough right there. Anyways, on to, do we want to check out any of the other ones? Maybe Litecoin really quick, or actually, do we want to do a little bit more of a deep dive? Short term, yeah, again, short term, I'd be looking for it to come down 1100, very likely. 1050, very, very likely. Well, no, I should say 1100, very, very likely. 1050, very likely. But yes, one before the next. And short term, yeah, I'd be a little bit downside angled here, but that does not make me bearish on it. On the whole, long term, up. Up is the direction, sir. Litecoin, same thing. Short term, does it want to come back down and grind out like 140 or 145? Yeah, no problem. However, long term, looking at the weekly right here, I would still remain. I mean, well, no, we hit the 185 target. Oh, there you go. Long term, I'd extend that target to 220 would be the next major level to the upside, but very similar to Beaterall here, I would be looking for some sideways action and then probably get another try to the upside coming into like the next, couple weeks. And I'd be looking for 220 after that, to be fair. Daily still trudging along here too, but we got a little bit of bearish divergence. So actually 1, 2, 3 stabs. Yeah, I'd be looking for this one to come back down to like 140-ish region, 145, and then play off there and analysize it in real time. What about Ripple, me nipples versus the US dollars? Everyone was really excited about this one yesterday, and what do you know? It seems to me like we have another lower high. I just don't understand. Oh man, it's I just do not understand the obsession with something like this. Still a terrible chart. I would not be surprised if this weekly closes below 29 cents. I said yesterday when it was all the way up at 35 cents that I wouldn't be surprised if this one comes back down to 30 cents almost immediately, and it pretty much has already. That was on Twitch. It probably does level out in this region, and it probably does actually get another move back down to like 20 cents, but I don't know if it has much more downside than that, at least in the at least in the medium term. But well, I guess that'd be more long term. Let's stick to this right here. I'd be looking for this one to come back down, but overall, it's going to follow the market. And if Bitcoin does continue its inherent bullishness, then this one probably just evens out, and maybe for the next few months does give another try to the upside. Okay, all right. Have I chewed off your ears to death already? I think I got just about everything there. We are 40 minutes into this analysis. Holy motherfucking shit. Okay, so sorry about that. Anyways, let's go back on over here. We'll start off with the most important things to be aware of with today's daily. So let's wrap this bitch up. Bitcoin on the 2-day closing tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, which will set in my buys for further all-time highs, which will be targeting the next major regions of which we identified earlier on this video. That will be right around the $43,000 region, which is the 2-spot 414 Fibonacci extension right here after hitting our targeted region at 40,500 yesterday at the 2-spot 272. Now, with that said, again, that does imply that we need to see it close above the topside trailing band, which is currently trading at about $37,000. A better way of doing this would actually be using the slightly lower time frames than that right now, which would be the daily and the 12-hour. The daily is going to show that same level of continuation at 39,400. So if that condition is met, yes, I am targeting, I guess, 43,000 and maybe even beyond on top of that. Looking at the 12-hour, that's going to obviously confirm even sooner than that within the next 7 hours, 10 minutes, and 40 seconds. And if that closes above the topside trailing band, which is a little bit higher at 39,650, then I'd be looking for more immediate continuation, basically sooner rather than later. Now, on the other end, I do want to follow up on yesterday's short-term time frame analysis as well, but I do think that it is relevant to state that, hey, overall, we do see still volume increasing on this rally as Bitcoin does make new all-time highs, and that is indicative of the rally still having very, 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 very good participation, which would imply further upside. I want to see volume come down while price action is going up, and preferably open interest also going down. But as we saw yesterday, open interest went from about 5.5 billion to 6 billion, almost 6 billion on that rally just above $40,000. So this is still looking more or less healthy on the whole. By the way, I did upload a new video in the TA program to talk about this sort of interplay directly and give examples with that. So check that one out. It's in the underlying market dynamics section. But more importantly, with this price action right here, we should go into the lower term timeframes and identify points of reference for the downside in case the other conditions are met for a bit of a reversal here, of which I would be looking at this level right here and no less for a short-term move. That would be 36,500, the same area that Bitcoin is based off of once, twice, thrice in the last day and a half. That's also going to be the 1-spot 414 that Bitcoin based off of before breaking out to the upside to that $40,000 target. So I really do like that area for a short-term move. If this area is broken, or if you even really just see a wick lower than the lowest wick within this region, which is going to be 36,383.5 on Mexico. Check your exchange. It will be different. I'm referencing this one right here, the lowest one. Then I would be looking for a short-term drive to the big, well, it's not so big anymore, but a medium-term relevancy area right here at 34,500. This one's kind of the bigger one just because that was that prior consolidation high, and I would be judging medium-term targets based off this, meaning that if this area does break on preferably a 4-hour, could use a 2-hour, probably yes, but I'd lower that price point to 34,000 4,000 even to be a little bit more conservative. And I would be targeting about a $5,000 move to the downside back down to the $30,000 base. So that's a pretty fucking big move. Below this area, I do get long-term bearish, still the same sort of interplays. We're just kind of moving these areas up as Bitcoin, you know, proves itself with further and further upside action. But for right now, if I had to call it, I know it sounds fucking crazy. You know, maybe Bitcoin gets another short-term move to the downside. But, you know, again, assuming that the conditions are met that we laid out on the 12-hour daily and 2-day, I would be looking for further continuation to the upside with $43,000 as the next major relevant region in sights. And then on top of there, we can, should we talk about that right now? Well, I suppose I'll just spoil the surprise. The next relevant region above that would be the 618, right around 46,250. And to be fair, the $43,000 level off the 414 is not like a major one. It typically is a short-term and medium-term pullback sometimes. But as far as algo targets goes, typically it gets reaccumulated at the 272, which is right around $40,000. So that becomes your new base for a short-term move. And then we can talk about, you know, further continuation of the upside. But I hope that this market doesn't move that fast. Otherwise, I'll have to start doing fucking 3 videos a day. But I imagine we'll be able to cover the rest of it on the Forex video later. And of course, we also do have CMEs closing later today at 7 p.m. Eastern time as well. And that means that we'll be able to see the weekly close, which will likely, you know, be the same for spot price action. And if it's anywhere above, let's call it $38,000 on CMEs, yeah, I'd be looking for new all-time highs coming into next week. I do understand that sounds crazy. I do understand that things are really aggressive now, but, you know, could it have a little bit more? Yes, I do think so. And I think that, you know, it's wise to take it day by day, or at least that's what I'm doing. And of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I would like to wish you the best. I salute you all, and until next time.